Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Siti Nur Syafiqah binti Ramli and my groupmate Muhammad Zahriq and Muhammad Nur Aiman. We are from Group 1 and we are going to present about Native American, Mesoamerican, which is the people of the land. Okay, so the first thing first is the definition of Mesoamerican and Native American. Mesoamerican is actually a historical and cultural region mostly located within modern-day Mexico. The first discovered civilization was Olmecs, which is from their large carved stone-like head that the people left behind. And Mesoamerican were said to be home to three major civilizations, which is in pre-Columbian times, which is Aztecs, Mayas and Incas. Second one is Native Americans. Native Americans or American Indians or indigenous American are actually a group of indigenous people of North America and South America, as it relates to the continents being referred to as the New World. The application of the term Indian were actually originated from Christopher Columbus, who thought that he had arrived in the East Indies while seeking for Asia. So this is actually the map of Mesoamerican, which is Aztecs, Mayas and Incas as their civilizations. So the theory of journey through Beringia. Geologists believe the first humans came to America when the earth water froze into glaciers. As the water froze, the floor of the ocean was revealed, and this provided a land bridge for people to walk across into America. This migration took centuries, and people spread out across the Americas as far as east as the Atlantic Ocean and as far south as the tip of South America. And these early people crossed a land bridge from Siberia in northeastern Asia to present-day Alaska. And this land bridge, which is Beringia, now lies under the waters of Bering Strait. So this is actually the map of the land bridge, which is it is here that it is frozen to become glacier, and people cross from Siberia to Alaska.
So we continue to the first contact of Europeans with the Native Americans, and the first country was the Spanish and the Native Americans. The first contact of Spanish with Native Americans were during their expedition of North America from Florida, and majority of the encounters occurred in the southwestern regions of USA like Arizona, California, Utah, Texas, New Mexico and Colorado. So in terms of tribe that this Spanish meet was the Pueblo, Apache, Navajo, Zuni, Hopi and Calusa. And there is some of traveler and explorers such as Juan de Onate, Ponce de Leon and Hernando de Soto. And for example, Hernando de Soto basically he is doing the slave trade. So by having the slave, for some native, he used them to guide him to find gold. But different for Ponce de Leon, which he wants to explore to this new land because he had agreement with the Ferdinand, and if he found the new land, he will be the new governor. And then we move to the other European power, which is the French. The first contact of French with Native Americans were during their exploration through St. Lawrence River and Great Lake region from the Quebec. And majority of the encounters occurred in the northeastern regions of Canada, like Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland and Labrador. And several tribes that French meet were Huron, Montagnais, Algonquin, Cree, and Abenaki. Same goes to the picture there. France has several explorers such as Jacques Cartier, Samuel de Champlain, and Robert Cavalier, Sieur de la Salle. And the explorer of France are quite different from the Spanish. For example, like this French, they like to be friend, or they like to help the tribe, because during that time there is tribal fight. So French come and offer them to get the gun or something, the weapon, and for exchange the native tribe needs to give them fur.
Great.
So and then we move to the British. British also had come to the USA, and the first contact of British with Native Americans were during their creation of early colonies in North America, with Jamestown as their base. And majority of the encounters occurred in the northeastern region of USA, like New York, Plymouth, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And among the tribes they meet were Iroquois, Wampanoag, Powhatan, Cherokee, and Pequot. And there is several of the main individuals such as Henry Hudson, William Penn, and Roger Williams.
Alright, so I will be presenting on the everyday life of Native American, which is focused on 5 aspects, which is politics, social, culture, economy, and religion. First thing is politics. The Native Americans were often grouped into tribes or nations, and these groupings were generally based on peoples that shared the same culture, language, religion, customs, and politics. And there are over 1,000 Native American tribes in United States. Sometimes the tribes were also grouped by region they live in, for example the Great Plains Indians, or by the type of language they spoke, like the Apache. And among the major groupings and tribes were Iroquois, Shawnee, Pawnee, Apache, Navajo, Odawa, and many more.
Great.
Moving on to economical aspects, which is I will be focusing on 3 tribes, which is Teton, Hidatsa, and Diné or Navajo. Teton, after arriving in plains, they abandoned their former farming economy and they relied on previous knowledge and skills that finally were adapted to new surroundings. And the most important innovation in 18th century native culture was the incorporation of the horses into economy. Teton obtained horses from Chinese, who secured the animals from Comanches and Kiowas. The horses were synonymous for transportation and travel. Hidatsa economy combined horticulture and foraging. In the bottomlands along the Knife and Missouri rivers, women planted corn, beans, squash, and sunflowers. And in Hidatsa economy, buffalo were the most important animals in Aboriginal economy, which is after the men completed the hunt, women went to the site to prepare the meat and hides. And lastly, Diné subsistence or Navajo was based on mixed economy, combining foraging, farming, and herding. Social life of Teton, they consist of groups of related families who cooperated in economics and social tasks. Households composed of nuclear families, although extended families units were also attested. Families were relatively small in Teton, which is 5 or 6 children were considered a large group. In Hidatsa, the social organization were based on a system of matrilineal clans and moieties, and one of the major male association was Black Moss. They serve as police, which is enforcing decision of a village council of leaders, and they inform the people of significant community activities. From culture aspect, which is they focus more on marriage. So in Teton, most marriage were arranged by parents, although ideally the wishes of the young couple were taken into consideration. Formal proposals were made by male relatives of the prospective husband, accompanied by horses and other valuables presented to the young woman's family. Parents' acceptance were on the basis of the man's skill as a hunter and his success as a warrior. In Dine, the marriage system were based on matrilineal clans that often named for reputed place of origin, and marriage in Dine were typically proposed by maternal relatives of the man to the mother or matrilineal relatives to the woman. Last one is religion. In Teton Lakota, religion is concerned with understanding and respecting Wakantanka. Wakantanka is actually a spirit essence or force that pervades all beings and nature. It can be embodied in a human, animal, or object form, or have no physical shape. It can be seen as a visible entity or unseen as an abstract essence. Anything that has power actually partakes of Wakantanka. And lastly, Dine religious and social systems are based on beauty, which is Hozo. Hozo refers to harmony, order, peacefulness, and appropriateness. Beauty resides in the proper functioning of person's body, mind, and spirit, and in their proper relations with other people. But the disturbance of beauty may result in illness and therefore require a cure, which is they call it spiritual curing.
Next, I will explain in the focus narrow scopes of the tribes, and we will choose several tribes because the continent contains a lot of tribes of Native American. So first, we will cover the northern tribe. Northern tribe of the US and Canada of Native America can be separate or divided into 2 branches, which is the first one, the Arakwin, and the second one is the Algonquin. The Arakwin, it has a culture which is well documented by the European because of its survivalism through the colonial period. And then it does not have many changes within its culture itself, except for the adoption of manufactured goods like knife or cooking utensils from the European, which is their trades or buy, and changes in the warfare when they tried to they started to use gunpowder such as muskets as a part of their war, beside the bows and the tomahawk. Okay, so the example that coming from this branch, the Arakwanian, is the tribe of the Iroquois, Cherokee, Huron, and Masoe. So the next one, the Algonquian branch, their culture was not documented well because they didn't survive long. Because they settled near the coastal area towards the Atlantic Ocean, so they will face the first wave of the European settlers. So, due to quickly devastated by Europeans, land grabbing, killing during their military operations, and also by the deadly epidemics such as smallpox, measles, and consumption. And Algonquian culture, the branch, some native tribe from this branch is the Algonquin, the Cree, Abenaki, and also the Wendats. Okay, so what is the difference between the two branches? Actually, lies within the historical roots. Historical roots came as the tribes started to separate after their travel to the North America. One settled on the north and the other settled to the south of United States. So the cultural difference also was due to constraints and opportunity. Constraints, yes, as they face with the European settlers, and also as the availability of resources. Same goes to the opportunity afforded by this diversity in available resource. When you are at the coastal, you just focus on the fishing and also the farming. When you near the lake, you can explore more, like hunting and others, and also climatic condition. Mesoamerican actually, yeah, they are quite similar in their culture and language due to coming from these two branches coming from one before. So next we will focus on several tribes. I will not explain about their aspect because have been covered by my friends before, but we will focus on their unique characteristics and unique features. First one is the Iroquois Confederacy, or in their native language, it is called as Haudenosaunee. In French, it was called Iroquois League, while the British called them as the Five Nations, which consists of the 5 tribes. Next. The Iroquois Confederacy, according to legend and the oral tradition of the tribes, was formed by these 3 peoples. The Hiawatha, the founder, which is come from the Onondaga, the Nagawida, the great peacemaker, coming from the Mohawk, and the last one, Jegonsese, the mother of nation, coming from the Seneca tribe. All these 3 people actually managed to unite the tribal chiefs of the Iroquois and form this confederacy in their ambition and goal in order to ordain the peaceful way. Next. So this is the map, the location of the tribe, which is the 5-1, Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, and Mohawk. These 5 tribes always be at war at each other, especially the Onondaga one, which is the aggressive one. And Seneca also have the largest army among the 5. And the Seneca also always raided other tribes and the other tribes outside of the Iroquois realm. And the first to be the peaceful tribe, which is the Mohawk, because of that, the Nagawida set, which originated from that kind of tribe. So due to this ability of to bring a warring tribe to become peaceful tribe, inspired the Hiawatha from the Onondaga, who want to be a peaceful tribe also. And later he journeyed to the Mohawk and asked the guidance for the Ganawida. But for both of them, in order to achieve this, they need to convince all the 5 tribes. The one who knows all the 5 tribes is the Jegonsese from the Seneca, because he has the long house located in the center of the Iroquois realm, which they always invite any injured and needing tribes across the 5 tribes. So he might have formed a relatively minor relationship, but they know she know each one of the tribe. Next. So the main things that formed during this Iroquois Confederacy, which is the Great Law of Peace, contain 117 articles or tribes must follow without fail. Consisted of 3 councils, which is need to be applied in order to follow the council. Council of Young, Council of Women, and Council of Chief. This constitution was based on the 3 principles: Guy Wolves, the righteousness, Scanon, health, and Gashadensha, which is power. Next, continue. The Council of Chiefs consists of the 50 confederacy chiefs. The largest one from the Onondaga, due to they are the one who lead the confederacy. 14 from Onondaga, 10 Cayuga, 9 Mohawk, 9 Oneida, and 8 from Seneca. All the chiefs have the veto powers, but the last one, the chief title of the Onondaga, Tadodaho, will be the one who decide the result. If they doesn't come to agreement, they will need to repeat all the process again. So this is the symbol of peace in the Iroquois tradition, which is the broken arrow. If they show you the arrow, the proper one, that means they want to be war you, but they broke the arrow, which means they want to be peace with you. Next. Okay. Another component within the Iroquois Confederacy, within the Great Law of Peace, is to have the Tree of Peace, which is the three founders of the Iroquois Confederacy, the Ganawida, Hiawatha, and Jagasasi, with the other Iroquois chief from the 5 tribes, planted the white pine tree as the symbol of constitution and peace. Under the white pine tree, they will bury their weapons as the sign or symbol to uphold the peace. However, after that, later, bald eagle perched on the tree, and the Ganawida, upon seeing this kind of event, he said that the eagle will be our witness and guardian of our constitution, which is the tree itself. So later we can see, next, in the future, this kind of things, event will repeating, which is we call the echo of history, as the George Washington and Benjamin Franklin will meet with the descendant of the Iroquois chief and learn about their unique constitution, which later some of them being implemented or being incorporated in the Article of Confederation and USA Constitution. As you can see this, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and the descendant of the Hiawatha and the other chief tribes. And the evidence of Iroquois influence also can be seen in the USA coat of arms. Next. As you can see this arrow actually represents Iroquois, but it also used by the USA to represent 13 colonies, the original colonies of United States. You can count it 13 arrows. And the next one, the bald eagle, which is the animal, sacred animal of the Iroquois. So also adopted by the USA. Next, the symbolism. Okay, the flag itself has its meaning, and the flag itself coming from the wampum have been skewed by Hiawatha. Okay. The square represent the tribes: Seneca, Cayuga, Oneida, Mohawk. Seneca will be appointed as the keeper of the West because he is located in the western region of the Iroquois land, and the Mohawk become the keeper of the East Wall. And Onondaga, which is the tree one, become the keeper of the central fire because every time the tribal chief met, they will go to the Onondaga territory and then circling the fire in order to discuss about everything. And the design itself represents the tree, which is the tree of peace. As you can see, the line, the white line, means to join together of the tribe, but it have been not joined. It have been left hanging at the end because they keep that due to their ambition to unite with other tribes, which also we have one tribe will join them after this, and they will be called Six Nations, which is the Tuscarora tribe. Next, okay, within the Iroquois Confederacy history, there are events which is significant to the development of the Iroquois. Why it survived even though within the European incursion and still have a power to fight them because of this Beavers' War. It's become irony due to the tribe who want to put on the peace ambition, but later become more aggressive in the expansionists. As you can see in the Beavers' War, the Iroquois Confederacy will engage with many tribes. They fight and they clean, massacre all the tribes, such as Mohican, Conestoga, Powhatan, Erie, Neutral, Sonoras, and Huron Nation. As you can see, there are some other Queen tribe, which also actually they are brothers, but they doesn't care. They crush them all. Okay, as you can see, there's a Tuscarora. We will join them in the 1722 as the sixth nation. Next. Okay, these are some of the common feature, which is the Arikos Wampam, it's like a muffler, a scarf, and the longhouse, the Arikos longhouse, and the leader, the Arikos chief, will wear an antler crown, which is a tradition, and the antler crown will only be crowned to the chief by the clan matron, which is the clan mother, the women. Okay, so that's all for the Arikos. Next, we will focus on the next tribe, the Pueblo nation. Why we call nation? Because there are a lot of Pueblo. Okay, next. Okay. When you heard Pueblo, you must think, oh, this is also either Spanish or Mexican. Because Pueblo itself comes from the Spanish with the meaning of town. Because the first expression of the conquistador can encounter this tribe because they live in a compact village or settlement made from clay. You can see in these pictures the design itself. Next, it consists of the four branch, which is scattered across the southwestern USA, the Carson, located in the central, Zuni in the west, Kiowa Tanoan in the east, and Oto Aztecan. These are the region, the states within the USA which have this population of the Pueblo. Next, why they settle near there? Because they actually settle along the two major rivers in the southwestern USA, which is Rio Grande River and also Colorado River. Okay, next. Okay, such as Arikos Confederacy who has the Bible War, Pueblo also has something significant, which is Pueblo Revolt in 1618. During this time, they was have been occupied and dominance by Spanish. And the cause of this are due to the Spanish forced demand. The forced conversion all the Pueblos into Catholicism. They want them to join the masses of the Sunday masses, and they also cruel towards this native, which is they always do public beatings and many other things like massacres and something like that. The growing resentment among the tribesmen led to this revolt. Next, the flow of the event is when one Tewa religious leader named Pope, who also the victim of the public beating, start the uprising. They destroyed the churches in their land, killed the resident priests, forced settlers out of the territory. Many Spanish have been killed, and successfully attacked the provincial capital located in their nearby area, which resulted in relative peace from the Spanish dominions. But later, the peace does not last long due to later the Mexicans will try to claim back their territory from the Pueblos. Next, the Navajo Nation. Okay, you can see this is the flag, official flag of Navajo. Next. Okay, Navajo, also known under Diné, another name, derived from the English form of the Apaches de Navajo, which is a Spanish word adopted by Salmeron in 1622. The Navajo comes from a Tewa word. Nava means field, who means valley, because they settled nearby the river, across in the between the mountains range, which a valley. And Navajo, what is the significance about Navajo? They are like brothers to Pueblo, but they are not in the same family branch. But they have a close relationship with the Pueblo. And also another one, the Apache. And Navajo also played a role in the US Army later in the World War II, as they are become the one who conduct the communication of the army by using their language, Navajo language, in Navajo code. There are some sound like that. And during the World War II, become successful in the communication because The Japanese cannot even break the code of the Navajo language because they're first time hearing something like that. Okay, next. Okay, we will go to the decline of the Native American. Okay, Native American have been declined, have many factors, but the main factors we have three. The first one, the disease epidemic. Okay, as you can see, European, besides they come and settle in the New World, they also bring their disease from the Old World, and the disease have never been accounted by the Native American, so they doesn't develop any immunity towards the disease, and even the disease is simple for the European, but it catastrophic for the native and disastrous, deadly, because you doesn't have any immune, and they suffered much because of that. And at some point, this disease also have been used by the colonizer and the settlers as the biological weapon, as they also threaten and sometimes spread the disease deliberately in order to wipe out the population, such as the myth of the smallpox blankets, when the Europeans give a gift of the smallpox blankets from the smallpox hospital in order to as a sign of the thanks to the Native American during the winter time. And among the disease that have been infected by the Native American, which is smallpox, influenza, typhus, measles, and malaria. Okay, next. This is the example of the smallpox. So you can see there are more pox. Next. Okay, the second main reason of the decline is the war and conflict. Between 17th and 19th centuries, the population of Native Americans decreased dramatically due to the conflict against the colonial powers and also conflict between them. For example, the Anglo-Powhatan War, Powhatan is a tribe where the Pocahontas origin, Purkut War, Beavers War, King Philip's War, and Tecumseh War. This war is more devastated due to the amount of the casualties from the native tribe itself. Even though the casualty also affected by the Europeans, but Europeans have the better weaponry and better technologies, which double the size of casualties for the Native American. Next, as you can see here, the back, the Europeans, and the front, the native. Next, okay, the last one, the massacre and genocide. Many Native Americans were intentionally and deliberately massacred by the white settlers to disperse and grab their lands for the settlement. Example of the massacres: Mabila massacres, 2,500 casualties; Fox Indian massacres, 1,000, and the largest one, which is the California genocide, 9,000 to 16,000, we have been conducted by the Spanish, Mexican, and also US along the time, the period. Next, this is the Fox Indian massacre. You can see the Red Indians down there.
Okay, we continue to the Native American nowadays. So this is the picture. And then the first one was civil rights. So Native Americans are citizens of their clan nations as well as the United States citizens. So clan nations are characterized under the law of the United States as domestic dependent nations, which are the laws attempting to clarify the relationship between the federal, state, and tribal governments. And then this relationship creates a particular tension between rights retained via tribal sovereignty and rights that individual native obtain as US citizens. With the law of the Indian Civil Rights Act, the indigenous people were guaranteed many civil rights that they had been fighting for. So, in simple words, these Native Americans, in one of the act, they put free speech, which before signing this act, there is no, there cannot free speech. And then this is the example, the picture of the samurai. Okay, so we continue to the reservation land. So Europeans basically remove this Native American by, like for example, I said before, like the treaties, forceful violence, because so many fights and war between the native itself and also between the colonizer. And then in a few cases, these native voluntarily move based on mutual agreement. And next, the removal caused many problems, such as tribes losing their originality livelihood by being subjected to a defined area, and then farmers also having inadmissible land for agriculture. So like, for example, they have common or in a place, but then they need to be, they being forced to leave that place, so it will create difficulties to them. And then the main goals of Indian reservations were to bring back the Native American under US government control, and then minimize conflict between Indians and settlers. So this is the map for reservation land. Okay. And lastly, Wounded Knee Massacre, 1890. So this massacre was a domestic massacre of several hundred Lakota Indians, and almost half of whom were women and children, killed by the soldiers of the United States Army. So these Lakota Indians are Native American tribe that also known as the Teton Sioux. And on December 29, the US Army 7th Cavalry sounded a band of ghost dancers under Sioux Chief Bigfoot near Wounded Knee Creek and demand their surrender their weapons. These ghost dancers, in simple words, something like their story that the god were angry to this Native American because they have not practicing their culture, and then or they have forgotten their culture, so they need to do this, and then the god later will generate back or stabilize back the world if they do this ghost dancer. So by that, is that then USA know about this, and they attack these Native Americans. As that what was happening, a fight broke out between an Indian and US soldier, and a shot was fired, and then many of natives itself had died, and also the colonizer. So this is the picture of the Wounded Knee Massacre in 1890. And that's all from us. Thank you.